It's a nagging question. For years, the Guam EPA has listed West Agana Bay Beach as closed. It's the only beach ever listed as closed in their weekly beach report. Closed due to the intended or continued use of the old fractured outfall at the Agana sewage treatment plant. The old fallout has a crack in it, and that allows sewage to leak out within the reef. But it was replaced more than 3 years ago by the new deep water outfall. And to her knowledge, GWA spokesperson Heidi Ballendorf says it hasn't been used since.
Just one time in 2008. It was like the end. I think I recall it being December or January, December of that year.
So since 2008, the old outfall has never been used for sewage overflows?
Nope.
So is there any reason for West Agana Bay to be closed?
Maybe not. Maybe we should do a better job of figuring out how we can test it and reopen it.
However, Guam EPA Administrator Ivan Kanata says the old sewage outfall has been used to dispose of sewage as recently as this past September.
It has been used as an emergency outfall during heavy rains, and the recent rains back in early September, mid-September was one of those cases where they had to use that outfall.
They say they hadn't used it since December of 2008.
The report says otherwise.
Kanata acknowledges that they don't test West Agana Bay every week for contamination, but they do periodically, and this past September is not the only time the old cracked and leaky outfall has been used for sewage overflows.
We have tested a couple of years ago and then about a year ago again, and it hasn't changed. Of course, the crack,
levels of bacteria.
The crack was still there. They're still using it as an emergency outfall. What have requested from GWA in the past is that in their standard operating procedure, if they would write in a clause in there that whenever they use that outfall, that they would provide a public notice, that we would then consider removing that advisory from that beach.
And the Agana wastewater treatment plant is not the only plant discharging sewage that has not been fully treated. This past Friday in District Court, the U.S. EPA revealed that close to 2 million gallons of sewage bypassed treatment at the Umatic Maritza wastewater treatment plant in July and went straight into Umatic Bay.
I think it came out to a little close to 2 million gallons, which I think that plant actually treats about 700,000 a day.
And GWA didn't announce it in July. Right?
Well, I want to apologize because no one told the communications director. So that is an error on our part. I was not informed. That did happen in July.
The larger question, of course, is whether the sewage leaks at West Agana Bay and elsewhere are contributing to the large number of beaches on which Guam EPA places advisories, warnings of high bacterial levels. 24 beaches are on the list this week, and that number has been above 20 in recent months, coinciding with the heavy rains. Is the cause of these advisories because of the sewage runoff?
No.
Can that be blamed?
We take issue with that. We do not believe that that's, if you take into account the Umatic bypass, that was a one-time situation. So if the beach is constantly closed, that should tell you.
When you have raw sewage overflow, it's got to be part of a contributor.
So your testing has shown the presence of an indication of the possibility of E. coli?
Yes, and that's why we issued the advisory.
So it's not the sewage that's the cause of the number of advisories, it's the runoff?
It's the runoff. Golf courses, farms, things you use on your household items that you spray down the road, go right into the ocean. Everything eventually ends up in the ocean.
I don't know what they base their assumptions on. We base our advisories on the samples that we collect from the beaches.
Kevin Kerrigan, PNC News.